In July of 2017, I traveled thousands of miles to Tanzania for a week-long nature journal safari, sketching and doing watercolors in the Serengeti, the Ngorongoro crater, drawing lions, leopards, elephants, hippos, cheetahs, all of the animals that humans fantasize about, that we make movies about. After that, I spent a week tagging along with the Hadzabe Bushmen, one of the last hunter-gatherer tribes on the entire planet. I continued to apply a nature journaling perspective as I tried to keep up with them on their long hunts. I did sketches of them and their foods and their tools, and I did watercolors of the landscape where they live. When I got back from that trip, I locked myself inside for a whole week, scanning pages from my journal, importing photos and videos, typing up essays from my notes. I wanted to make a new kind of travel journal, a new kind of book that combined words and images in a compelling way to tell a true story, an important story about East Africa. Well, I did that, and it didn't have exactly the impact that I wanted. A year and a half after my first trip to Tanzania, I wanted to go back. I wanted a second chance. I wanted to go back to the birthplace of humankind with my nature journaling and sketching supplies because I wanted to make an even better product than the first time, to share in a beautiful and compelling way the biodiversity, the grandeur, and our common human heritage. As this idea began to take shape in my mind, a new sense of urgency crept into me. In the year since my last trip, I kept seeing things in the news about habitat destruction, species extinction, and the loss of traditional cultures. How much had things changed in Tanzania since my last visit? What would I be coming back to? The Serengeti Plain and Ngorongoro crater are some of the last places on Earth where you can see many of the great mammals that our species evolved with. Despite conservation efforts, however, many of these species face local extinction. Some, such as rhinos and cheetahs, could disappear from the wild in my lifetime. Not only that, but the cultural landscape is eroding rapidly. The Hadzabe people are at a historic turning point. They represent a way of life that sustained humans for more than 90% of our existence. We modern domesticated humans are the exception, and hunter-gatherers are the rule. Despite their sophisticated knowledge and time-tested relationships with their environments, such early cultures have been steadily and irrevocably displaced since the invention and spread of agriculture 10,000 years ago. As the weeks passed, I got more and more clear about what I wanted and how badly I wanted it. My desire had become a need. The only problem was figuring out how to make this trip actually happen. There were a variety of challenges that stood in my way. Did I even have the skills to accomplish what I wanted? I would need to be ready to nature journal in challenging environments, high-pressure situations with overwhelming, distracting, and sometimes downright dangerous surroundings. Many of the animals I would see are challenging to draw accurately, such as hyenas. Many of them would be in large and chaotic herds, such as wildebeest and gazelles, not easy to draw. The rest would probably be hiding, moving fast, pointing their butts at me, or so far away that I couldn't really see them. I would not be drawing and doing watercolor from the comfort of my studio. I would be in lurching safari vehicles, on dirt roads, looking through binoculars, and trying to balance my sketchbook on the roof or the chair in front of me. The second half of my trip would be even harder. This would not be a plein air picnic. I would be following around sure-footed bushmen with poison arrows on grueling 10-mile hunts through spiny acacia thickets with intense sun and treacherously narrow paths above deep ravines. Did I have the skills? It would definitely be challenging, but I had survived last time, and I knew that I could train and do even better this time. What about malaria, yellow fever, tropical microbes, and the fact that I get carsick even on the paved roads of my home? I was already having some gastrointestinal complaints for a whole week before my trip to Tanzania. How would I fare during the hours of driving on safari and the cramped and nauseating bus rides? It would definitely be hard, but I could prepare for most of that. I could get the necessary shots. I could take the malaria pills with the weird side effect warnings about depression and suicidal nightmares. And I had creative ideas for how to prepare my own supplements for keeping my energy levels, immune system, and digestive tract happy. I also had recently been recommended a new motion sickness medication that worked wonders for me on the plane and during the endless dirt road drives to the Serengeti. There are always mental obstacles when it comes to art, and especially when it comes to making art in the field. Procrastination, perfectionism, indecision, stage fright, timidity, self-doubt, all of these dangers and more reside in the corners of my mind, just like any artist, athlete, or performers. But I can deal with that. I knew I could overcome these three major challenges, but there was another obstacle that felt insurmountable. Oh, yeah. Negative thoughts tend to lead to more negative thoughts, and sometimes it is hard to see possibilities when you're very focused on problems. Focusing on how I did not have the money to fund the trip led to doubts about whether this trip made any sense at all. What about my day job? Would I be able to take that many days off? What about paying rent? And my house? Who would water my orchids and terraria? Just when I was doubting everything, just when I was wondering if I would have to cancel the whole idea, just then I received a reassuring wave of support from the people who believed in me the most. Jack Laws, my mom, my Patreon sponsors, a few other donors, Tom Bin Bags in Seattle. Those people's faith was as powerful as their material support. Knowing that these people and companies believed in me and the work I was doing meant that I had to believe in myself. I now had a responsibility to go after this project with everything I had. There is something about pulling the trigger on airplane tickets that catapults something from the abstract realm of ideas into the world of reality. This time was no exception for me. When I bought my Emirates Airlines tickets to Tanzania, I still did not have quite enough money to afford the rest of the trip, but I knew I was committed. There was no turning back now. Part of me still could not believe it though. I was really going to get what I wanted. I was about to get a second chance at a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I was going back to Tanzania. In the months leading up to the trip, I practiced drawing East African mammals and birds. I practiced drawing large herds, quick landscapes, and I started going to figure drawing classes at night. I also practiced exposing myself to extreme temperatures, and I went for long hikes in hot weather to prepare me for my time with the Bushmen. Despite all of my preparations, however, there were still some things that I did not expect, things that I was not prepared for. As my July 14th departure date got closer, I realized that even though I had not left yet, this trip had already changed me. All of my preparations, the various setbacks and struggles, the roller coaster of self-confidence and self-doubt, overcoming or avoiding these obstacles had already altered me on a deeper level. I had developed new skills, new tolerances, and a better understanding of myself, and an infinitely more clear picture of my mission. These new attributes would turn out to be essential on my trip when problems presented themselves and unexpected situations challenged me. To learn more about what challenges I faced and the amazing experiences I had on the Nature Journal Safari, watch the next video in this installment. If you like this video, thumbs up below and think about subscribing. If you want to be even more involved in the work that I'm doing, check out my Patreon page. By liking and subscribing and supporting me on Patreon, you're helping me share the work that I'm doing with a bigger audience. Thank you so much, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Bye. I have to go work on this next video.